We pick up again with the gruesome murder of Thoriso Themane, allegedly at the hands of a gang of Limpopo teenagers. We're joined on the line now by police spokesperson Brigadier Vish Naidoo for the latest developments. Thank you for being with us, Brigadier. So we know that 5 school children are going to court tomorrow. Initially, reports still involving 10 or 12. Just tell us who these 5 are, who you've got and who you're still going after.
Yes, very, very good evening, Francis, and thank you for this opportunity. Yeah, we've arrested 5 suspects. The sad thing about this is that these 5 suspects are all teenagers, the age between 15 and 16, still school-going kids. They are in grade 8 and grade 10, grade 10 pupils. So they're not 10 suspects, they're grade 10 pupils, but they are 5 suspects. They are being charged with murder, and they're expected to appear in the Polokwane Magistrates Court tomorrow on that charge of murder.
Are they from Capricorn High School?
Well, we as police, we have not released the name of the school because the school has had nothing to do with this whatsoever. The incident didn't happen at a school. It happened in a public area. It happened on a weekend. So we didn't think it was necessary to mention the name of the school and potentially bring the name of the school into disrepute. Yes, but they are school children, but we haven't said exactly which school they are from.
All right, sure, that's your choice. Do you know, can you tell us more about the motive here? Claims that maybe they were in a gang, this maybe was a mob attack. What do you know?
Well, what we know so far, and this is an assessment we drew from our preliminary investigation, is that it was an act of vigilantism, where the community, particularly the 5 suspects, are claiming that they themselves have become a victim of a crime allegedly by the deceased, who is alleged to have committed a crime against them. But of course, under no circumstances is anybody justified or allowed to take a person's life because they felt that a crime was committed against them. Of course, unless if a person's life is in danger or the life of another is in danger, then there is grounds of justification for that. But in this case, it was a pure act of vigilantism, which we have concluded from our preliminary investigation. But as you know, the investigation is still ongoing. Maybe we might make other determinations as the investigations progress.
This was a robbery. Thoriso Themane alleged to have committed some robbery. Can you give us more details?
Yeah, well, that's the allegation that is being leveled. That is alleged to have committed a crime, possibly robbery, but that's still yet to be tested. So that's why I don't want to go into too much detail on that. What we want to say now is that, and what we know as fact is that we have one 28-year-old man that has been killed. We have 5 possible suspects that are in police custody on a charge of murder, and we're going to deal with the case as a case of murder and proceed, from a prosecutorial point of view on that basis.
And all 5 are admitting to being involved? Are any saying that they were bystanders, or are they all admitting they were involved in the murder?
Francis, that's too much detail. They're appearing in court tomorrow. They will be given an opportunity to plead, possibly tomorrow. And once they have made their pronouncements in court, then I think it will become information for public consumption. Right now, I don't think we as the investigators are at liberty to disclose exactly what our interviews and interrogation with them has revealed.
Brigadier, can you confirm that one of them is a son of a cop? It must have concerned you, the video going around with a schoolboy claiming he was untouchable because of that.
Yeah, that most certainly concerned us. I mean, just today the National Commissioner issued a statement, firstly condemning the killing of this 28-year-old man, condemning this act of vigilantism, but secondly also saying that that nobody is above the law. People cannot go around claiming to be above the law and expecting to get away with such a heinous crime. Having said that, being a son of a police officer, I can confirm, yes, one of the suspects is a son of a retired police officer who retired from the police last year. I can also confirm from the interviews with that particular police officer, they are just as devastated as as the nation at what has happened, and one has to sympathize with the parent. I don't think we want to wish this upon any parent, irrespective of who the parent is, when they hear that the son is alleged to have been involved in committing a gruesome crime.
Certainly not, but it points to a brazenness, incredible that kids are making videos. Can you comment on what you think was going on here? Is there are young people getting involved in gangs? We heard the talk of maybe drugs being used at the park. Anything about the circumstances that allows for something so horrific like this to happen?
As in this particular case, as I alluded to earlier, we at this point we are ruling it primarily as an act of vigilantism. But of course, as the investigation progresses, we will explore whatever possibilities there may exist that may have contributed to this particular crime. I agree fully. The fact that this crime was committed in itself is such a devastation. But then for one to go and video the incident itself and then thereafter take to social media to claim that that person or one is untouchable, the authorities can do nothing to that particular person, is what actually compounds and makes the entire situation even more complex. So these things cannot be tolerated. I don't think it can be tolerated by us as the police authority. It shouldn't be tolerated by anybody from society, and we can't let this type of behavior continue. So we also, in the statement today, the National Commission has appealed to communities to come together with the police in our effort to combat crime as opposed to people taking the law into their own hands.
These kids, 15 and 16 years old, you said, just explain how the justice system deals with people of that age, how this case may be different because they are teenagers. Well,
firstly, they are in police custody. In terms of the Criminal Procedure Act, we can keep them in police custody until they make their first appearance in court. They're in court. The court will make a determination as to what happens to them. There's been questions in the course of the day about criminal liability on people of that age. I just want to say that there's a grounds of justification where age can be used as a grounds of justification. A child between the age of 0 to 7 is generally not considered criminally liable. It means that such a child cannot be found to be or accused of committing a crime. Between 7 and 14, the onus would be on the state to prove that that person could differentiate between right and wrong, and that is such a person of that age could be held criminally liable. But anybody over the age of 14, the onus would be on the accused to prove their innocence. So you can understand now where we are. We are at a point now where these children are over the age of 14. So the law states that they could differentiate between right and wrong. So the onus is going to be upon them to disprove the evidence that we have, because we can only arrest and take a person in, for prosecution purposes once we've gathered sufficient evidence to ensure that we have that we can ensure a successful prosecution. Okay. So then now the onus will be on them once we have done our work to disprove the evidence that we have.
If there is a conviction, does it make any difference in terms of time served or where that time is served? Prisons for minors, example?
No, I think we're too far gone on this one. Yes, there are prisons for minors, but I think we'll cross that bridge when we come to it in this particular case. I don't want to have to speculate what could and couldn't happen or shouldn't happen to these juveniles. But once as the case progresses, we will see how it develops, and we'll give the prosecution process an opportunity to make whatever determinations need to be made.
Well, final question for you, Brigadier. Communities are outraged at this, at the horror of it and the brazenness shown afterwards. Do police have everything they need? Has this investigation been conducted to lead to a successful conviction if they are guilty?
In our statement today, I mentioned that the National Commissioner, as soon as he heard about this particular incident, he instructed the Provincial Commissioner to mobilize what is called a 72-hour activation plan. This plan entails the mobilization of critical resources, including crime intelligence, forensic experts, seasoned investigators, either from our general detectives or even the Hawks, to use the 72 hours to ensure that no information and evidence is lost, to also ensure that enough information and evidence is gathered to ensure an arrest and successful prosecution. We have come to a point now, way before the expiration of the 72 hours, we've even gone so far as not just gather information and intelligence, but also to arrest those suspects. So I think we have enough. We had enough evidence and information to secure the arrests, which evidence and information we're going to use at the first appearance in court, and in the process of the investigation, try and gather more information and evidence. If the information and evidence is going to benefit us from a prosecutorial and a successful prosecution point of view, then so be it. But if we gather information and evidence that is going to exonerate any of these accused or all of these accused, then innocent people must be set free.
All right, thank you very much for that update, Brigadier Vish Naidoo. And we can tell you that security has been beefed up at the Polokwane Magistrates Court. That is where those 5 suspects aged between 15 and 16 will appear tomorrow. They've been linked to the murder of Thoriso Themane, but their court process still to play out, and we'll be there for you.